What's up, YouTube world? It's your boy J Dub, the number one comment on YouTube, and I'm back with another review. Today, I'm doing a backtrack of a late review of Ready to Love. This is season 7. This episode is episode 6. Do you like me? Or eight? Or I'm gonna rename it. I'm gonna call it Welcome Back, Andre. So, again, we on the new Ready to Love episode 7. However, because I didn't do it last week, I had to do it. I kept getting I got a couple respectfully motivated comments from Darlinda Tracy TV. And check out Darlinda Tracy. Her review, she's a lady, but we share a lot of same viewpoints on our reviews. And she kind of pushed me or motivated and say, hey, J Dub, we looking for that Ready to Love review. And I felt that push. Like I'm crazy, super busy once again, but I had to do it. And again, you know how I do it for Andre. You got to welcome him back the right way. So, he's back on the show. I don't know why, but he's back. So I'm here. I'm here and we here. So let's go ahead and get into this review. Oh, for those who are new to my channel, I do detailed reviews on reality shows. I do not do every single scene. I try to pull out the most important details and maybe pick out some details that you may have not seen. And as I said in my intro, I am YouTube's number one commenter. So the primary goal on this channel is to get in those comments. I like, I enjoy, I love to hear what y'all think. And I like to see y'all debate back and forth, the funny jokes in the comments. It's a lot. It gives me the energy to do this and keep going. So let's go ahead and get started. We on last week, and right after this, I'm going to do the next episode, episode 7. But this is Do You Like Me, aka Andre's Home. So it starts out with the men slash ladies lounge, and at what Tommy calls the church, and he don't really give an intro. He just come in normal, a normal interest because he always got to say something or do something. And Tommy says, like, at this point, the guys need to focus on their most promising connections, and they need to ask the hard questions or whatever to find out if they're like truly compatible or whatever, and even give them little notes and little questions to ask. And then Tommy says, like, after that, those dates, they're gonna have like a group dinner with all the guys, all the ladies, and it's just gonna be like a different type of like voting system or setup, because it ain't gonna be just like a men's lounge or ladies lounge. It's gonna be all one collective group. So we get to the first date. It's a group date, and we got Blake, Anthony, and Lyndon, and they're taking Cynthia, Susu, and finally Mercedes out on obstacle course date. And the date really looked fun. It was all types of games and activities and physical activities where like people could bring out their inner child, and it was refreshing to see. It wasn't so serious, even though they do need to sit down and talk to get to know each other, but they were just like really having fun. And in this date, we discovered Anthony actually he has a connection with Mercedes. I didn't know that because they never show that or what's going on. And they have a conversation over a big giant game of Connect Four, and Mercedes really had a vulnerable moment because she was kind of feeling away, like feeling apprehensive, like maybe if she got with Anthony, would she be able to step up to the plate? Because most of these people have children, like half and half, and would she be able to fill that role? I guess as stepmama, or Anthony has an established life. I don't know if she's living in poverty or whatever going on, or she's just starting out, like, because she's not in her 20s, but she's a flight attendant, and she just believes that Anthony's lifestyle is intimidating. So, I mean, I really thought that was real because, instead of acting weird or saying something off putting, she just let them know, I'm feeling some kind of way. Like, I'm feeling you, but I'm not sure if I'll be enough for you, if you can say that. So, that's the kind of stuff we really need to see. People being vulnerable, being them true selves, and communicating with each other. So, at this point, we see a very interesting situation going on, like a pattern with Lyndon. Like when he's talking to Sue Ann mentioned like, "Hey, you got my number. You ain't been hitting me up like that or whatever." Then Lyndon's like, "Oh yeah, when I finally hit you, you couldn't call me back." And he kind of threw it on her, and we see that Well, I might have to start calling him low energy Lyndon, where he's not going to put much effort in it or whatever. I don't know if he doesn't like the ladies in particular, or he's just that's his style. He's not going to put much of himself up front, and he's going to let you like only come to him and come on his terms or whatever. I really don't know. I haven't really figured that out. But also, Lyndon, he was saying like he's into Mercedes again because they don't show enough of Mercedes, so we don't really know who she actually has true connections with. And pretty much he kind of pulled out Mercedes like that. She really sees Lyndon as a friend. There isn't like much there, so there's nothing there that is nothing there to pursue. So they got to move on. So we see Blake. Blake is actually at the again I say he's at the obstacle course because they don't show much of him, but they show him at the company picnic with his only guest, his single employee, Susu, and they're talking. When they talk, I don't really see the connection with them. Again like it's a company picnic, it's a group meeting or whatever the case may be, and there's not much there. And when Sue Ann was telling Blake, like, reminding him like what she was looking for, Blake was like, I don't remember whatever. And I'm thinking like, how many women is Blake really he's like talking to and having conversations with? Because I don't really see anybody mention Blake saying, yeah, I talked to Blake or we had a good time when we went out or whatever. I don't see it, but he doesn't remember what Sue Ann wants. And Sue Ann says she wants pretty much three things that are important to her. She needs a man with a strong back. She needs a man with a strong mind and a good heart. Now, even though we see a lot of Blake, I don't know much about Blake, but I don't know about the first two, but I know he doesn't have a good heart. So Sue Ann probably should, she should probably look somewhere else. Or, I mean, self eliminate because nobody's really there for Sue Ann. I was really disappointed in Sue Ann, meaning I thought she would do well. But again, watching this show, it really shows me how and why these people are actually single, no matter how good they look or how prestigious their career is or their personality. It's just you see why. You get a glimpse in it. So at this point, she's trying to still kind of connect or get close with Blake, and she actually makes the first move and gets close to him, and they actually get a kiss. And now she thinks Blake is her boyfriend. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make, especially women sometimes. When something happens in dealing with someone, she's naturally assuming like this is my guy, even though they never spoke on any of that. And uh I know that ain't going nowhere because like I said, Blake doesn't show like they like keep using the word intentional. That he's very intentional about Susu and he wants to be with her or get to know her better. I don't get that at all. So we got an individual date going on, and it's with Blue and Jeffrey. And I wasn't aware that Jeffrey and Blue had any type of connection at all. And the date looks like they buy the water, but it looks very dry. I'm gonna tell you that. And Jeffrey wants Blue to kind of step it up and be more aggressive because Blue comes off like a very shy and reserved person. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you like this: Jeffrey is gonna do whatever she got to do to get a stepdaddy for them three kids. They saw three ducks coming or some ducks coming down the water or whatever, the canal, and the mama duck by herself with the babies and Jeffrey like, oh, even the ducks gotta go through it. Like, just being a single mother or whatever. Like, no, that happened to you in your situation. Is she speaks of it like she's been victimized or whatever. And I just wish at this point somebody would step up to the plate and be a good stepdaddy to them kids. Get your applications in. But the date kind of ended for me with some weird words coming from Jeffrey. She was saying that like the date was extremely successful. Like, get she's looking forward to a second interview with Blue to be the stepdaddy. I don't feel the vibe or the connection, just like she needs a man. So let's go to another one-on-one date. And the next one is Morgan and Lyndon. And when you look at Morgan, she looks like a a attractive grown woman going on a date with a guy who may not have been on a date in about 5 to 7 years. Who is that? That's Lyndon. Lyndon got on hoochie daddy shorts or whatever, and Morgan just telling him like, "You look amazing." This man looks amazing. These women are filling these men up with so much compliments. Lyndon just looking like yeah, like he didn't give nothing back or nothing. I don't know. At this point, I might have to call Lyndon low energy Lyndon, or like he's not giving like I'm into this woman. He's got Morgan sitting right in front of her, and it just doesn't seem like he's feeding into it because it seems like she's trying to connect with him, but I just really don't see it. He can like sit down and talk to someone because what? He's a bartender, so of course he's accustomed to sitting down and talking to people, but as far as truly connecting or like showing his interest, I don't see it or feel it at all. And he even asked Morgan one of those corny questions that Tommy gave him. Like I was thinking he was so corny. He was like, so what side of the bed you sleep on? Tommy told me to ask you or whatever. She was looking at it kind of strange, but she went on and answered. But I don't see it for them at all. So let's go on to the next day. We got Smooth Tony from up top, and he's on a one-on-one date. He's with who he calls Marcy, which is Marcia, and that was a very cringy moment. Without going in super detail, long and short, Tony tells Marcy that Morgan is this top connection, and she's the second one in line, and it's like, and Marcia was just like thrown back, like don't say that or whatever. I agree. I mean, whether it's the truth or not, he should have left that part out. That'd make her feel a certain kind of way. And then this fool tells Marcia like, she needs to step it up and she needs to be more aggressive. And that sounds like more like what a woman would say. Now, granted, I'm not a believer of what's the word when women expect men to just hunt for them and like or show all interest towards them and the woman's giving nothing back. I believe it should be mutual interest so you can know that hey, we're both liking each other, we're interested, we want to see where it goes and not just one person. But now Tony wants Marcy to step it up and tell him exactly who she wants. But he just told this lady, I'm more interested in Morgan because she's stepping it up and she's aggressive. And I'm like, where did they get these guys from? I'm gonna say it again. I see why these people are single. It's crazy. I mean, okay, but let's go on to the next group date. It's like a speed date thing going. We got Tony again. They show the same people, and Mark Anthony, and the ladies are Jonique and Jeffrey. And I would just have to say the women on uh this Miami series, they always look good. They always stepping it up. And we see Jonique, she keeps a jumpsuit on or whatever, and she's always filling it out. And she should actually have a jumpsuit line or whatever. Because I mean that's her thing. So we see Jeffrey, like I said, she's almost to me getting into victim mode. And again, I need this lady. I want this lady, and I want somebody to fill out that application and be a stepdaddy to them 3 kids. I mean, life is so unfair for her. Yeah. Somebody wipe this lady up. Anyway, so Tony he was putting it out there like his main goal for coming to the show. He wants to find his wife, and Jonique is like feeling the same way. When I said Jonique is, she's the turn up girl on weekends or whatever. I was really surprised by the way she responded. Like I said, I get the city girls vibe. I hear she's from DC or whatever. I could feel that vibe off of her. And like I said, what surprised me is that she's truly an excellent communicator. And I enjoyed that because she expresses exactly what she wants, how she pivots and maneuvers in relationships according to like her partner's needs or whatever. And Tony was like, yeah, he feeling that. He liked to hear that. And you could visibly see like this man was moved by her words. and like she was spitting real game, but it sounded genuine. I bet you one of Tony's love language is words of affirmation. The man likes to be affirmed. He needs to feel special, and he needs to feel your aggression as a woman. And Tony pretty much saying at this point, like, Jonique is the game changer. She she's kind of like moved up with all the ladies. Tony kind of blows with the wind, with his connections. One minute he all up in Marcy's face, next he's loving on Morgan. Who knows? I get it that you're supposed to seek multiple connections to see which one best fits, but he's like all over the place. So, at this point, Jeffrey and Mark Anthony, there appears to be some kind of connection, but it's more so coming from Jeffrey's direction. She's really feeling Mark Anthony, but Mark Anthony don't even like kids, and she got 3 of them. So how is that really going to work? I'm thinking she really needs to go in the direction of settling for Uncle Blue. Uncle Blue would fit the stepdaddy role better, and his kids are with him or whatever. But Jeffrey likes Mark Anthony, and that's how it usually goes. The person liking one person, the other person don't like the other person. It's just something. So, like I said, Jeffrey's goes find a daddy for them kids, so she better go with Uncle Blue. So we see the group dinner. Tommy had mentioned that like everybody's going to go to, and they're going to kind of switch up the format or whatever. And it was just like another mixer or how they always do. And then you see Morgan and Lyndon, they kind of creep over into their own little corner because Lyndon says like no matter where they are, they kind of gravitate towards each other. And you can see Tony's feeling kind of salty about that. He feels like it's more of a competition because he's pretty much saying like, if I'm in the mix with Morgan, Lyndon has no chance at all. It's like it's a competition. Not that he's so into Morgan or she's the one or whatever. And we see Sue Ann and Anthony sit down. And, like she puts her lawyer hat on with Anthony and she kind of calls him out for like falling, falling short of falling up because I guess Sue Ann had a wonderful time on the boat. And then that's where it ended. Anthony didn't pursue her or, try to follow up and get to know her. So we see Tommy coming in. Now Tommy got to make it. He got to make an entrance on this little the dinner. He's like, hey, 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 hey. He doing that, and Anthony turned around, look at Tommy like this. I'm like, okay, Anthony. Anyway, so Tommy makes the big announcement. He's pretty much saying that he has a surprise. He always got a curveball or whatever going on, and that Andre, who had contracted C19, that he's all healed and done. He's healthy now. And he wants to know how the group feels about him coming back. They could say no, they could say yes. And, I guess people are getting into the buddy mode or they don't want to be petty. And they like, oh, yeah, bring my boy back. Or, yeah, we should have him back. And I'm thinking it was kind of unfair. He had to drop out of the process and they said that he was doing it permanently. So I don't need to see him. But that's why I'm welcoming him back. But Tommy like, well, I can call Andre at the house and get him on the phone or whatever. If y'all want him back, like, yeah, get him on the phone, bring him back. Tommy pick up the phone. Andre walked through the door, and they cheering and all that. And it's very interesting because like at this point we know Andre left on a high note with Cynthia. Jeffrey's feeling him, so it's going to kind of change up the dynamic. And then Tommy gets the bright idea to say, like, while they sitting down, they want to do like an air your grievances format or whatever, so to get things off your chest or to give somebody criticism. If you're gonna fall in love, you got to be able to take constructive criticism. They go around the room and do their thing and share on their feelings. And Andre was like coming up first and just saying like he appreciates everybody, respects everybody in the room. Everybody looks great. You got to butter everybody up or whatever. And he's saying how he was so disappointed with Mercedes, who we don't rarely see, how she didn't check on him when he was sick or whatever. And like how hurt he was. And I'm just like, you just met this lady. You sound like y'all were together and she broke your heart and she abandoned you. And I'm like, okay. So that's how it kind of kicked off. People just letting people know how they feel or what they think about them or whatever. Like I said, I don't agree with it because at times people can be catty, shady, and they can get low. So, Marcia and Jeffrey just feel like what Anthony has been doing, he's almost reminding everybody of Lyndon. He's not a follow upper. He's not going to continue through the process of where he left things off. He's going to just kind of drop the ball and let it lay there. I believe there's something more there, but I'm sure we'll find out later. And you know, Cynthia thinks different. She's like, just Anthony is just so amazing. But Cynthia believes Mark Anthony may be too young to actually participate in the process. I guess because they feel like he is there for ready for fun or whatever. He ain't really to fall in love or start a family or whatever. And Jonique isn't feeling Mark Anthony because they just don't have a connection, and neither is Susu. And you know, Mark Anthony just got tired of people dogging him. He like, wait a minute now. Can it just boil down to that we're not compatible? And that's absolutely right. Just because y'all in a group in a room and the ladies looking good and doesn't mean you're gonna gravitate or connect with all of those people. Everybody isn't for everybody. So I get what he's saying, but he could tell he was upset. The man had to defend his honor. So you know, so the argument kind of really got kicked off when I believe Morgan had mentioned, I guess, Blake's character of how he dealt with um Jeffrey and lying, and also the fact of the matter that she felt attacked because like she wants to have kids, and Jeffrey's going to convince her, a 30-year-old woman, that she shouldn't have kids or her happiness lies in kids or whatever. And we can see that the disdain for Blake came out. Even Jonique said, like, at this point, like I said Jeffrey, Blake, because that sounds like the guy name. Blake is like a weirdo. He gives all weird vibes, and more so, it's like he thinks he's better than her. And a lot of people got that vibe, because when Blake and Jonique sat down, it felt like he was very dismissive to her. I told you, I get the part where she's talking about, yeah, what I do for fun, I get on the weekend, I get turned up and drinks at the house and all that. Like how old are you? But hey, but he didn't have to treat her like that. I didn't like it either. But at this point, this is the first time that Blake speaks up about Jeffrey and saying that, like, um, that's not true what she's saying. And Jeffrey feels like, at this point, Blake is too old to be lying, so we don't have to do the back and forth. And then she also has a problem with Sue inserting herself because she does, like, every time she speaks about something, yeah, they're in a group setting, but you could tell when somebody has something against you. And that's absolutely what Sue comes off. She's the advocate for Blake or whatever, or she wants to find fault in what Jeffrey's saying. Now, like I said, the only fault I find in Jeffrey is that if she got a problem with Blake, she need to just let that go, move on. Don't even ever speak his name if it's like that. And they just got to argue back and forth, and I'm like, where's Tommy? And this is where, again, we need somebody who really specializes in relationships and mediation and all that to kind of get them to navigate through all this bickering and the same patterns that they're doing to get them on this show. And it pretty much goes off, nobody gets eliminated. It's a cliffhanger type thing. So that was it for episode 6. Drop down in the comments. Tell me what you thought. Something I missed, something you want to add. And right after this, I'm going to go ahead and do episode 7. And I'm going to take this thing off too. It's distracting me. So as I tell y'all could be anywhere in this YouTube world, but you're here with me. I really appreciate it, and I really mean it.